Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am whew, I am actually saying this out loud, and it's crazy that it's the first time that I'm finally telling my whole story about having my first child and everything, because I wanted to share this at 6 months, and then I changed my mind, and then February is heart month and I changed my mind again, and then I had a great idea for his first birthday, and then I was like, you know what, his 1 year anniversary is July 29th. So why don't I just plan a whole video with different parts and me just releasing it. So if I look to the side, I have notes so I can stay on task. I think I'm finally ready to post about his story. It's because a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to a podcast, and this woman basically was just talking about what was going on in her life. And she said a statement that kind of resonated with me, but because it wasn't my first time hearing it, it kind of was like a sign, like, yeah, this is a good time to, just tell the world about what you've been through and what's your story. And she said that story creates community. How are people going to get to know you? How are people going to, support a cause that you hold near and dear to your heart if they don't even know what's going on? So I think I'm ready. Harley Dwayne Owens was born May 11th, 2020. I stated earlier in the video that I did that he was a pandemic baby. As soon as I was like excited about being pregnant, planning baby showers, the pandemic happened quickly. Like, it happened so fast. But Harley was born with a hypoplastic right heart. And I'm going to read and also post on the screen what that is. Hypoplastic right heart syndrome is a range of right-sided congenital heart defects in which the right-sided structures are underdeveloped or not formed. When these structures are too small or do not function properly, the right side of the heart cannot send enough blood to the lungs. This causes a baby with untreated HRHS to have abnormally low oxygen levels. The treatment for HRHS have developed substantially in the last few decades and are tailored to each baby's needs. Whew. So if I look over here, I have a timeline, just so I don't, because I like to ramble a lot, but just so I don't go off. So I explain what it is. Harley has basically his right side of his heart is underdeveloped, and he will have to undergo, well, HRHS babies have to undergo 4 surgeries. Typically it can be either 4 surgeries or 3 surgeries, depending on how quickly you find it. Every baby situation is totally different. And I'm just gonna explain Harley's. It's, like I said, it's something near and dear to my heart. I have been holding this in since I was pregnant, and honestly, guys, I was just nervous. I really didn't care what people, thought about me or was gonna think about my baby. It was just, this is something so personal that he's gonna have for the rest of his life. So I wanted to make sure I was make sure that I was telling the information in the right time. And I know some people, when they have situations like this, they automatically go on social media and ask, to pray for me or pray for my family, or, they like to tell people what they're going through. And when I was pregnant, I was going through a lot. And as long as I had my husband, my mom, and my dad on my side, I was completely fine. Like, I honestly, throughout this whole situation, I put the whole situation in God's hands, and I was just like, honestly, when anything like that happens, you can't do nothing but put it in God's hands. Like, what can I do? It's just really out of my control. So we found out February 20th, 2020. I was 6 months pregnant, and basically I went in for you know, the sonogram for the gender reveal, whatever. And they took our pictures, and it was kind of, you know, she was just like, I really can't see like the baby. Like Harley back was facing the sonographer or whatever, and she was just telling me that, you know, I'm not able to get very clear pictures. I know the gender, but I'm gonna bring you back so you can come in and so I can get some more pictures. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We were just getting it for our gender reveal anyway, so I didn't think anything of it. I went back to the sonographer, which was my primary OBGYN, and she still wasn't able to get clear pictures of his heart, and which sparked something in my OBGYN to send me to a high-risk doctor. So honestly, on February 20th, well, it wasn't even February 20th, it was February 17th, I went to the doctor, and I walked in, you know, I told Wayne, I'm like, you don't have to worry about coming. It's a regular checkup. Like, they just want to make sure the high risk doctor can get pictures of the heart, because I'm guessing the sonographer and the high risk specialist, they were the high risk specialist had more equipment that could see what was going on. And not only were they trying to get pictures of his actual heart, I was also diagnosed with gestational diabetes while I was pregnant, so I would have to see a high-risk doctor anyway. So it was kind of a 2-for-1 appointment, so I told Wayne, don't worry about it. Don't worry about coming. I was just like, I should be in and out. Like everybody thinks. It's like, okay, I'm in and out. Don't even worry about coming. So once I got to the actual doctor's appointment, I left my ID at home. And I'm like, ugh. Like, what in the world, y'all? So I left my ID at home, and my the ladies in the front office, they were trying to do everything to get me in. They were like, you know, since this was your first time here, we do have your information, but we have to verify it. And I'm calling Wayne. I'm like, can I show y'all a picture of it? Like, can my husband send me a picture? And they're like, no, you physically have to bring it in. And now that I think about it, I'm just like, that was nothing but a God moment, because me getting information like that by myself, like, oh my God, I don't even know what would have happened. Like, I'm like, that's nothing but a God moment, honestly. So fast forward to February 20th, we went in, they were asking me questions about gestational diabetes, we took my weight, you know, weight, height, all of that, and then we went into a room with a sonographer. So we waited for her, and we just, you know, talking, thinking this is about to be a regular checkup. And she comes in, she's asking us questions, asking about our like family history, all of that. And honestly, guys, like, nobody in my family, and I can say Wayne's family, never had anything that was just super major. No one that was is directly to Harley, like a grandparent, an aunt, or anything like that. Like, nothing major that I could think of. So I was like, you know, I mean, because they are typically looking for, like, if you have heart issues, if you have, like, Down syndrome, if you have diabetes, like, none of that came up. So I'm just like, like, nothing I can think of. So she starts the sonography, like, she starts taking pictures and everything. And she's, like, looking, and I feel like I can say this confidently. I am a energy type of person. When something is about to happen, when someone has something to say, I can literally feel it, because most people show it on their face, or I can just feel their energy. And she's just looking, taking her pictures. She's taking pictures of his brain. Brain looks good. This, da 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 da. She's taking pictures, talking to us, and then she goes, did you guys ever get the genetic testing? And for pregnant women, you know, the genetic testing is typically the test they ask you if you want to do, like, at the beginning of the pregnancy. I think you can get it at like 10 months or something. And my mom told me don't worry about it, like you don't need to get the genetic testing or whatever, because I think it can tell you about the gender, you know, just what can be going on with your child. You would know it really early. So she was like, you didn't get genetic testing? And I'm like, no. And she was like, nothing for like Down syndrome or anything like that. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, no, I didn't get it. And she's like, okay. And but then she double backs and she's like, I recommend all black women get genetic testing done before, because it's some things that, you know, our babies are diagnosed with. So I'm like, I'm taking her information and I'm like, I definitely know that for my next child. Like, I'll try to get that genetic testing. And then she just finishes, she cleans me up. She's like, you know, the doctor will be right with you. And then she just walks out. And when I say, like, it's just something heavy just fell on me and I'm bawling. Like, I'm crying. I'm like, something's wrong with Harley. Like, because we already knew his name. But I'm like, something's wrong with him. And then Wayne looks at me. He's like, why would you say that? Like, she hasn't said anything. And I was like, I can just feel it, the way she was asking the questions, you know, the way she was looking at the pictures, taking the pictures over and over. I just felt like something was wrong with him. So she comes back in and I'm kind of like, you know, sniffling, because I'm like, I can feel something is wrong. And she's like, the doctor wants to talk to you in her office. Y'all, so we get back there. I call my parents and I'm like bawling on the phone, crying. Like, and they're like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? I'm like, something's wrong with Harley. Like, I can feel it. I know something wrong. And then my mom was like, Jason, she hasn't said anything. Like, she hasn't said not one thing. So you just, you know, just calm down and wait till you speak to the actual doctor. So I kind of get myself together a little bit, and she comes in, and when she came in, the first thing she said was, you know, we looked at your pictures, we looked over the baby, and I know, you know, my doctor, her name is Dr. C. She was like, I know she sent you here because she wasn't able to get a clear picture of his heart. And then she goes into me, you know, the gestational diabetes. You have gestational diabetes, and I know you were sent here because of that. So I'm, you know, letting you know, I'm confirming that you do da 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 da. She goes back to Harley and she's like, but I did want to let you know that your son has a rare heart condition, hypoplastic right heart. And I was just stuck. I'm just like, like, what is that? What? Like, I've never heard of anything. Like, no one in my family has any type of heart condition. Like, what is that? So she started pulling out all these papers, and honestly, y'all, like, I don't remember not one paper. I didn't even look at a paper. I'm literally bawling, crying, and she just goes into, you know, he won't be able to live without open heart surgery as soon as you have him. You just, you know, he would have to go through 3 surgeries in his life, or at the time it was 4 surgeries in his life. And it's just going on and on, and I'm like, I'm just bawling. I'm crying because my whole thing was, me and Wayne have been together since August of 2013. I've never had a pregnancy scare. I did everything right. I got married. You know, they say, wait till you have your baby when you're married, so you can have 2 parents, da 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 da. I did all of that. Like, I was just confused on, like, me. Like, out of all people, God, me. Like, why would I have a sick baby? Like, I was just confused. So I called, well, I think my parents were still like on mute or something, and I'm like telling them, like, he's gonna have to have open heart surgery as soon as he's born, da 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 da. And I'm telling him everything that she, you know, ran down. I'm bawling, crying. The doctor walks out. She tells Wayne, like, I'm gonna get her some tissue, but I'm gonna give you guys a moment just to digest what I just told you. And I was so upset. I think I walked out of the doctor's office. I'm like, I don't want to sit in here. I want to go. Like, I don't want to sit in here. And I'm telling my parents, you know, everything she's saying, and she was like, my dad was just like, what? Like, no. So we got in the car, and I don't know which one said it first. I don't know if it was my mom or my daddy, but they were like, this information we're not telling nobody. Like, because at the end of the day, you can be at peace with it, and other people will make you feel some type of way. Other people will make you feel like God is not working. Other people will make you feel like you were meant, you know, they could just change your emotions of the situation. So the only people at the moment that knew was me, Wayne, of course, my mom and my dad. And we just kind of made like a pact just to not tell nobody. They prayed over me. And they were just like, God is gonna work it out. Like, whatever is going on, God is going to work it out, and he's just, you know, it's just gonna all work out. And at that moment when we left the doctor's office, Wayne was so strong. Like, for me, like, I just kept crying like anybody would. Like, I just kept crying. My parents were so strong. And I think I was just still in denial, like it's not real. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I was still pregnant. Like, he wasn't here. I could see if he was here, it'd be a different story. But I was just confused. I was just upset. Honestly, I can honestly say I was upset with God. Like, I'm just like, how could you make this happen? How could me? Like, I literally did everything right. Like, but we all made a pact to not say anything to anybody, and just to have faith. Like my faith level went from here to, like, well, not yet, I'll tell you, but it was just, we're not gonna say anything, everything's gonna work out, we're gonna pray about it, God has his hand on Harley. Like, that was that. I still felt a kind of way. I still was upset. I didn't speak on it. I didn't say, like, and when I say I didn't speak on it, like I said, we made a pact to not say anything to anybody, but I didn't speak on it with Wayne at all. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to my parents. I was really upset. Like, I went to one doctor's, so once you have, like, if you have a high risk pregnancy like that, my doctors went from like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks to like every single week I was going to see my doctor, so she can check on the baby and check on me. And then I was going to the high risk doctor so they can check on the baby, check on me, check on my gestational diabetes, all of that. Making sure Harley was not growing bigger than he's supposed to, making sure his heart was beating fine. So I went, I think this was like the next week, and this was before COVID, so this was still in February. Because Wayne and my mom, no, Wayne was not there, Wayne was at work. My mom was there and I was there, and we went in to see Dr. C. And this was like, mind you, I went to the high risk doctor, so this is my first time seeing her after she sent me there just to get some pictures. So just to get a sonogram of him. So when we walked in, and I think I said this in my first video when I was talking about my delivery during COVID, I think every black woman should have a black OBGYN. Number one, because, and I'm going to go back to what I was saying, because when I was, right before I got pregnant, I was having a little discomfort, you know, and in my lower area. And my doctor sent me a letter that basically said she was retiring. So but it was still time for my yearly checkup. So this is when me and Wayne was staying in Roswell, North Atlanta, and I just went to a doctor that was available. I just went to a doctor that was there, and I think it was a white Jewish lady. And I was just telling her my symptoms. Wayne was in there. I was telling her my symptoms. I was telling her like how I was feeling, or whatever. Immediately, she said, "Sounds like endometriosis. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put you on birth control for 4 months." She was basically saying like she's gonna put me on birth control. I need to lose weight. I may not be able to have kids and this and that. And you need to lose weight. You're overweight and you may not ever have kids, but we're gonna put you on birth control. We're gonna put you on there for 4 months to see if everything works out, and then you're gonna come back to me in 4 months, and then we'll try to get pregnant. But you have to get more healthy. And I'm just like, number one, I do understand. I had gained weight. Overweight was a bit much, but the fact that it was just automatically, I didn't get tested for endometriosis. I didn't do anything. I never even heard of endometriosis until I went to that doctor. And Wayne told me that day, he was like, "You're not getting on birth control. You're not going back to that doctor. Like, you're about to switch your OBGYN." That whole situation just took me back to that moment. And that's why I think every black woman should experience a black OBGYN, because of the care that she took. Like, she literally, anybody could have said, "Well, I have a picture of his heart. It's not as clear, but we can go on and," well, when you take those type of pictures anyway, you can't really see exactly everything that's going on in your uterus. But any doctor could have just seen me on my merry way, and I would have not known my whole pregnancy that my child had a heart defect, or rare heart defect. So that's why I said that in the last video so many times, because the care that she took with me before she knew, and then even after, she took it up 100 notches. Like, she did not play no games. We had at first, so that day that I went back, my mom was with me. She came in and she just embraced me, and she was just like, I felt like it. I felt like something was wrong, but I wanted to get a second look. And that's why I'm just so thankful that this second look, like, I mean, some people don't find out that their child is sick until their child come out. So I was just so grateful, even though I was upset still. Like, I was upset, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know like what I don't know. I just kept telling her like, thank you, but no thank you. But from that moment, like I said, she took care of me, like everything. But we're gonna get into that. So after that doctor's appointment, it was just pretty much just catching me up on. She gave me more information about their heart defect, and it was crazy because every time we heard his heart before we found out, I'm talking about since day one, August 9th, 2019 was I think that was our first doctor's appointment. She always said like, wow, his heartbeat is so strong. Like, I'm talking about, this is before this lady even knew that he had a heart defect. She just was just gloating on his heart, like, it's so strong. And I think it's a thing where girls have stronger heartbeats than boys. And she told us, and I want to say this is like our second or third doctor's appointment, she was just like, she was like, I'm convinced by this heartbeat that it's a girl, but if it's a boy, he needs to be in every sport because it's so strong. So fast forward to us finding out that something is wrong with this strong heart. It was just like a kick in the face, like a punch to the gut, kick to the face, drag out fight, because I was just like, what? Like, what? But so we went a couple of weeks. Like I said, we went every week after that. I was basically in the doctor's office. So my dad preached a sermon. I want to say like 2 weeks after we found out. Mind you, nobody knows anything. And my dad just preached a sermon, just about. He was saying Christians, but I'm gonna just say everybody. How we as Christians and as humans are just so entitled to things. We don't do the work for anything. We won't put in work. We won't do anything to receive things, but we feel like God is supposed to make things work. And honestly, y'all, when I say it hit me like a wrecking ball, because I was just like, who said that I'm supposed to have a healthy baby? Who said that that's what God wants me to have? Maybe he wants me to have a story so I can do this or do that. Like, no one told me I was supposed to have a healthy baby. And at the end of the day, whether I'm entitled to feel like I, should have a healthy baby because, oh, I didn't get pregnant young like anybody else in my family, or I waited till I was married. I didn't have a pregnancy scare. I still had sex before marriage. Like, I was still doing things that was of the world. So like, we're just entitled. We're just entitled people. And when I say I went up for prayer, me and Wayne, and even though I think that was kind of like a day for Wayne, because that was the first day he broke down. Like, he punched the wall and everything. He just broke down. I just felt like on that day for me, I was at peace with it. If anybody finds out that their child is sick, they can think that it's the end of the world. It's the end all be all. My child is going to have surgery. And even though I felt like that, it's like, at the end of the day, it's not the worst situation. They do these surgeries all the time. Like, we're just going to pray that if he has to have surgery, he's going to get with a great surgeon that, that can take care of him, that do the right surgery. And I'm gonna say this again because I said this in the hospital. This is their everyday job. They save lives every day. Like, we go to work, they go to work. So it's not the worst situation.